Greetings and welcome to the energy of Libra. This is Ron from Tarot of the Twin Sun. Tarot of the Twin Sun is a functional division within the Order of the Twin Sun. Please take only what you will. Today we shall be focusing on the month of January 2023. We're going to be prognosticating, doing a small reading essentially for the energy of Libra. We shall look into the Great Mirror, but also before that we'll do a bit of karmic reading. Wanted to introduce you guys to Libyan desert glass, which is a very potent and subtle force that is material in nature. It's found in the desert of Libya, in the Sahara Desert, and I was able to acquire this piece by trading with someone some saphrodite, which is also a tektite, more like a pseudo-tektite, but I traded a bunch of that for this piece, and we're going to include its energy into prognostication. So we are now in 2023. At the time of this upload, it probably won't be then yet. I would look into more of an astrological approach to what is coming up astrologically. What would make sense to focus on would be the quality of Venus, as well as paying attention to, I would say more the quality of Venus, but also its antithesis, Mars, to define relationships. That's the 7th from Libra, the 7th from Venus in this case. But I'm not going to do that, so we're going to go straight into the cards. So in terms of taromancy, I like to begin with reading from a bicycle deck. And this deck is from, I believe, the 1970s. What we're going to look into first is Libra's tendency towards karma, okay? What kind of actions are going to be emphasized in terms of this month, January 2023 for Libra. Okay, we'll go ahead and get started. Now, the interesting thing about Libra is, yes, its antithesis is Mars, so there's a natural quality to assert oneself against other forces, against other agents, okay? The people that you bring in tend to have this. At the same time, they do this because there's a quest to find something in terms of faith, okay? And to push that forward, to materialize that in some sort of way, to familiarize faith, is something that that Libras pull in terms of other people and their karmas, okay? The interesting thing is that these people will see you as someone who is trying to work really hard on producing a very deep and intense transformation, okay? Someone who essentially obsesses about that in some sort of way, is a perfectionist in terms of producing some sort of deep effect. And it's interesting because Libras are one of the only zodiacs who will work hard on pleasing their partners, especially in the realm of sexual promiscuity or sexual transaction. And in this, there's the effect of war. It feels like war, but then also peace. And then there's a fine line between war and peace. And the natural result of war is peace, and the natural result of peace is war. So that's possibly something to think about when it comes to Libraic relationships and Libraic karma. So let's go and get started. Okay, so this year, and January especially, there's going to be an elevation into the crown of creation, into the Ace of Swords, okay? What is the crown of creation? The crown of creation is essentially a centripetal force that speaks about the capacity for human liberation through the exploration of imagination, also the coming to be of truth and realization through truth, self-realization. Usually it's indicated by a sword penetrating a crown, and that is a penetrative act in which through the penetration realization occurs, okay? It's a very deep and intense thing that has to do with the quest for truth, the clarity of mind, the finding of a voice. There's going to be an accelerated way of thinking and essentially a higher intelligence about Libras in terms of their mental faculty, their intelligence, as well as this being representative of some form of truth. At the same time, there is a period that you're getting through that has to do with the Five of Swords to the Six of Swords, okay? It has to do also with essentially the Seven of Swords, so it's moving from the 5 to the 6 to the 7 into the Ace. And what does that mean? It means that there's something about this that has to do with detaching from thoughts, especially as they pertain to the falling down of situations, the loss of the loss of voice, the silence, of essentially the turning of one year to the next, okay? This also produces an effect of mental clarity. It's as if, especially within the Northern Hemisphere, the deep cold brings forward a sense of clarity, of focus, of direction, of also extreme focus of the mind, okay? And this is allowing for a voice to sort of resound. If you're writing at this time, the writing will come out as clear, concise, and profound, as well as if you're thinking, which you probably will be, there will be singularity in the way you think, meaning that there will be one voice as opposed to the natural polyphony of the mind, wherein you might have many voices or many influences from others, and it pulls you back from the truth in some way, shape, or form, pulls you down. That's what it seems like. At the same time, there's been some form of past explorations, research, as well as the ability to look through catalogs or look online, look through networks or databases for your answers. And this has been something of a soothing thing. At the same time, all of this sort of communicative verve that Libra has is essentially, it's producing an effect of the 7. Okay, of Swords. Okay, so there's essentially a movement, excuse me, towards essentially pulling what you have in order to lay it down, to write it down on paper, to publish something, to get something done in terms of that. There is a realm of experience that is coming in the future through the Nine of Wands in the reverse that speaks of, let's see here, an experience that you haven't experienced yet that comes out of the collapse of one thing and the bringing forward of another, the bringing forward of a platform from the collapse of another, and this being a new sensual experience, a new experience of the heart. Okay, so it transfers from the quality of air into fire, and because of such, I think there's an activation for Libra in terms of this month, in terms of January 2023. There's a movement towards a hidden experience, a path of initiation. I rather like this. And what is it producing? It's producing, for one thing, a connection that will be very interesting. Yes, here's the Five of Swords. This time it's in the reverse. So it's producing past experiences, especially December, of silence, of essentially deep meditation, quietness, solitude, trying to purify and come up with a singular mind, a singular thought, a voice, okay, through important practices of sadhana and clarity of mind, presence of mind. Essentially what is coming out is the idea that you can sort of return to what you have left off in terms of communications or your own research, in terms of friend circles even, and returning to those, and essentially finding a clarity of mind, a purity of thought, and then finding a hidden experience, something that you've never experienced before, that has to do with some sort of Two of Cups energy, some form of relationship, something new that you are manifesting in terms of that laser focus and bringing forward an experience you haven't experienced yet, one of the heart. And also lots of creativity is coming up for you in terms of January, the ability to also share with others a profound sense of love and responsibility in terms of your own artistic endeavors. So these are all possibilities in terms of karma for January, but we're going to go a bit deeper now and look into this Two of Cups. So we're going to call this an incidental reading. Essentially, it's based on incident, and this Two of Cups, I think, is worth looking into. So we're going to go ahead and look into that right now. Five, I think it's the five of Swords in the reverse. I mean, was it? Let's see. Yes, Five of Swords in the reverse. So we've got to cut this twice. Yep. In two. So, in terms of this incident with the Two of Cups, okay, so you're going to meet someone who's going to activate the second and the third houses for you. Second and third houses. Those are interchangeable. And Taurus and Gemini are going to be quite strong in this. There's going to be the Empress energy, the Sun energy. There's going to be the birth of the Sun, the birth of something in terms of the crown of creation before it is penetrated. This has to do essentially with the whittling down of useless thought. Okay, anything that is neurologically complex in the past is going to come to a point of deep and pure crystallization. It's going to point to somewhere. All thought will be directed towards the manifesting this Two of Cups for some reason, and it's because of the ceaselessness of the mind that has prevented this from coming in the past. Now there's clarity. Now the Ten of Swords, it's like you've gone through enough knowledge and now the wisdom is kicking in. But is it really wise for this to come into being? I think it's something that you won't expect, but it will be familiar. There's something about it that activates essentially the intelligence of Gemini and also the Venusian qualities of Taurus. And from this, it's something that you may have been waiting for quite a bit of time. Waiting, fearful of even, fearful of manifesting this kind of thing. But there we have it. I think you're birthing something from a path of experience that has to do with repression, and then the inevitable sort of elastic band that sort of breaks after so much force or compression or use, essentially. And that breaking point is pointing to what I would call a return to the Six of Swords in the reverse that showed up in terms of karma for January. This has to do with essentially the idea that you're focused too much on logic, or perhaps too much on the mind, too much of thinking. And because of such, the experience of emotional compassion or empathy, or the welling up of emotions, the welling up of creative force is so great that you're going to bring forward someone who very much mirrors you in the month of of January. Okay, it's going to feel like a birthing process. It's going to feel like it's quite lovely. It's something that will be sensual, and what this is leading to is essentially the Four of Cups, a path of detachment in which you can treat others orderly. You could treat your relationships orderly. There's going to be a sense of order in this type of relationship. Where it's coming from, though, is the inquisitive mind. The thoughts of the past, trying to figure out why you've done things in the past because of such bending of truth with your own self, sort of trying to understand one timeline from another in terms of your own paths of truths that have like sort of come together or warped or have been flexible enough to negate the truth completely, to negate knowledge, to negate a way of thinking. Okay, these are all sort of going secondary. The path of thinking is over, and then all of a sudden something comes. Okay, the path of thinking is over and something comes. This will provide a sense of order for you. It will give you a new reality in which you can ground yourself. And the interesting thing is that you probably won't go for it. It's like it's something that you may fear, and it's something that might just show up, and then because of such, it feels like you wouldn't go for it. It's pointing to, I think, a type of spiritual awakening that I know my Libras are acquainted with in terms of their own journeys and the ability to come up with a way to manifest something quite great, but then even then being humble enough to not take the turkey, to not go for it. It's very strange. There's a realm of respect that is coming up from this type of situation, okay, that I rather like, meaning that you could find someone who would mirror you in some sort of way, and it's going to come up as a very beautiful surprise, something you haven't experienced. And because of such, there is an ability to evolve to such a degree that it would require, there would be no expectation in it. There would just be pure reflection, okay? And I think that's potentially a good thing. Okay, so now we're going to the Great Mirror, and because there's someone that is piquing this reading so far, we're going to go ahead and look into someone of a significant degree that Libra may be dealing with in the month of January 2023. It was 3, and then into it. Okay. There's that 2 of Cups again. 4 of Cups in the reverse on their side. Interesting. Fascinating. Okay. So, what's going to be most apparent when you encounter this person is going to be the vibe that is being produced. It's as if both of you are quite different from walking the thoroughfare, walking the path of the layman. And because of such, there's a vibe that is produced through the High Priestess. Okay, and so far I'm liking this reading in that there is an element of self-respect as well as respect for another. On the conscious level between you two, there also is a deep connection in terms of being able to see through the lines of adversity and see someone for who they are, seeing them completely transparently. Okay, but they're not normal. They're not normal people, and they also produce a healing effect for you. It's very deep, the connection. There also is something here about nouvelle connaissance. The card of the 4 of Cups in reverse on their side. This speaks about temptation, an offer from the universe. It's as if you were an offer from the universe to them. And there's something about that in which they are willing to take, finally. They're willing to take. There's a great degree of temptation. And I think this is something that you've been waiting for. The thing is that I don't know if you're going to be taking it either. It's as if you are on a different land, you're on a different part of the path. Even though the path that splits you two, you're both not walking it. It's as if you can see each other from afar, okay? There's a realm of distance here that I don't like, but I think it gives the ability for space, for boundaries, and for respect. There also is an unsaid union here, big time, with the Two of Pentacles here fusing two different minds, that is through Mercury, through the card of the Two of Pentacles as well as the card of union here, the Lovers in the reverse. There's something about this that speaks of an unsaid connection, unspoken of connection. It's very deep, and it also is vibrational. There's something very vibrational about it, meaning it's going to be electric, and because of such, the realm of satisfaction comes forward. The Eight of Cups in the reverse. Okay, what does this mean? It means that even though you may be on your own path and there's something about you that would rather face further challenges, to try something new, to also let go of anything that is karmically entwined with toxicity or a negativity in terms of emotional experiences from the past, you're willing to work with what you have, okay? Those experiences, those emotions, okay? Let's call them just straight up emotions. And you're satisfied with them. Okay, so there's like a melancholy about this. Like you are familiar with this energy, you're familiar with this person, there's an unspoken connection with them. There also is a potential here of the Eight of Rods, which speaks about empowerment. It's as if you can be empowered through this connection, but I don't know if you would take it. I don't know, because the Five of Rods shows up if you do the difference between the 8 and the 3. Okay, so it would empower you to also produce the effect that you need your space, you need your territory, you need all of that. But at the same time, there is this unsaid connection. It's very deep, very intense, very reptilian in a way, very snake-like, producing a healing effect. Something about purity, purifying is here. And the Nine of Cups is here as well. 9 versus the 2 would make the Seven of Cups. There certainly is a great degree of intensity on a very deep level. And this symbolizes the path that is not walked, but it also is walked, because both of you observe the path, you eye the path, you both look at the same path, even though you may not be walking it, you're doing the same thing. You're following what could be in terms of that path. So this is a rather profound reading. I wouldn't want to be a Libra, but unfortunately I have the coloration of Libra in my chart. And with this speaks about breaking free from trauma, from the realm of trauma, finding someone who actually makes sense, but then not having to do much because the vibrations will speak for themselves. The advice is to go with your desires, especially when it comes to producing an effect of detail, of looking into the gift, looking into the operations of your everyday, of working hard, and to go with that. For some reason, you're being paid off for your efforts, Libra, in the month of January, and I think that's a very positive thing. All right, I do wish you well. Hopefully this has been a resonant reading for you. I do wish you well. Thank you. Bye-bye.